Am I an idiot for telling her to get over herself? I got a dog 2 years ago, Corgi, and she is very much my sidekick. I've been with my fiancé for 5 years. My fiancé does like the dog, but she is currently pregnant and experiencing massive migraines and has been snapping at everything. So every morning when I get up I find my fiancé already awake and at the table relaxing. As soon as I get out of the bed, my dog goes nuts. It's like super energy where she is running sideways, barking up a storm, jumping from the bed to the floor a million times, causing the apartment to shake because it's old ass, etc. And I will sit there and sing made up songs to her and just frick around with her. It is pretty noisy and I can be loud. It's just my way of interacting with my pet. I also have ADHD, so I'm fully aware that I can be ridiculously loud and sometimes I simply forget to tone it down. My fiancé has complained about it a few times and I will absolutely try to tone it down for a while, but as fricked up as it sounds, the second she stops complaining and it's out of sight, out of mind, I start doing it again. If I catch myself I apologize immediately, but sometimes I don't even catch myself doing it. So she has been getting up earlier than normal because she says she needs peace and quiet away from you and the dog because she can't hear herself think when we get up, and then she starts getting migraines and being overall pissed off. But now she is complaining because I can sense her not in the bed anymore, probably after 20 minutes of her being gone and her warmth no longer there, and then I'm wide awake and the dog senses it and So she's now getting pissed because she thinks I'm purposely not letting her have space and purposely annoying her with my behaviors. I'm not, truly, but it seems like it, I guess. I've tried just laying in bed for a while so she can relax, but I get stir crazy and I also don't feel like I should have to stay in bed so she can be alone when I live here too. But she flipped this morning. I felt her sneaking out of bed this morning at 5 a.m. and tiptoe out of the room. I watched her sit at the table with her book. Well, the dog saw me awake and immediately went ballistic, jumping on the bed, whining, barking, etc. She comes in and says, "Will you guys calm down so I can have time to myself for once?" I just side-eyed her because I'm getting pissed at this point with her demands. She says, "Well, I tell her to get over herself. Just because she's pregnant doesn't mean I have to change who I am or change how the household works or change my dynamic with my dog." She immediately left after telling me to go frick myself and won't answer my calls. She's been gone for 6 hours. Not an idiot. You are allowed to have fun with your dogs, and just because they don't like her does not mean you should be punished. As for the baby, she's using it to manipulate you and it's honestly a huge red flag. You're an idiot. This mindset is how women get branded as nags when in reality their partners can't just hold the smallest bit of consideration for others. Your partner is literally sneaking out of bed in the early morning hours to just have a moment of peace and quiet to relax, and you can't let her have it because if she isn't actively complaining you can't respect her need for a few minutes of quiet. You're an idiot. Do you think this morning routine is going to be helpful once the baby is born? You're allowed every single morning and not caring about the physical distress of a person growing a new human in her body. A new human that I'll assume is also yours. Start working on another way to relate to the dog in the morning that allows other people in the house to have peace. Now for the next story. Am I an idiot for buying my daughter a locked storage bin? I, male 53, have a daughter, female 17, who I recently bought this big storage container for. The reason being our daughter has a job and likes buying her own food and snacks for herself. The problem is that her mom invites her aunt, uncle and cousins over all the time, and even since she started buying her snacks and leaving them in the pantry they'd eat them without consulting her. She's asked them many times to not eat them but they don't listen. For reference, she likes to order snacks from other countries as a way to broaden her horizons. She's also linguistically gifted and likes to try and read labels to help expand her vocabulary. These snacks can take weeks to get after she orders them again, and by then her current snacks are gone. My wife didn't do anything, saying that since our daughter kept them in the pantry there for everyone, she moved them to her room and her cousins would go in when she wasn't and take them. I went to a hardware store and bought a big container with a lock, and for extra measure I bought extra locks and drilled holes so that they could be used. Our daughter cried and thanked me because it was pretty expensive and not something she could afford. Of course the cousins went to get more snacks and threw a fit when they saw it and realized the snacks were in there. They told their parents and they told my wife, and she's not happy with me, saying that our daughter should share her snacks with family and she's being selfish and will get fat. Our daughter is incredibly fit, does multiple sports and exercises all the time. She's far from unhealthy. I told my wife she could order her own and our daughter was happy to tell her where to order them, but she didn't like that either and told her that the chest needs to go and that I should have consulted her on buying the bin in the first place. Am I an idiot? Edit. The relatives are our daughter's cousins and aunt and uncle. They are my sister-in-law, brother-in-law and nephews, and sister-in-law is my wife's sister. To clear up any confusion, the pantry I also fully stocked with food. No one is going hungry and eating our daughter's snacks because they have to update. My daughter and my brother-in-law both found my Reddit post separately. First my daughter, who was sent it via a friend who knew the situation. She confronted me about it and we had a very long talk where she admitted that when I'm away her mom doesn't treat her well, and often puts her cousins, my nephews, above her, telling her she should be understanding we're far better off than them. I was aware that they would occasionally sneak into her room to take things or play, but apparently they go so far as to wait for her to leave for a few minutes, run in and grab what they want. Her mom also makes a lot of comments about her weight. For reference, our daughter takes after me being taller with some more masculine features such as broader shoulders, while my wife is small and petite. There's many other things I won't say here that my wife has said to our daughter. I didn't bring it up at first and consulted my wife on buying a lock for our daughter's door, which she opposed, even if our daughter said she'd buy it with her own money. She started yelling about how under her roof our daughter has to abide by her rules. The house is technically mine, not hers. She stormed off and immediately began telling all our friends and her sister and brother-in-law that I was being controlling and awful to her. The brother-in-law found the first post and sent it to her, leading to another argument where she accused me of airing our dirty laundry to the world instead of trying to communicate, despite me trying to and getting shut down. Once she stormed off, I packed a bag, as did my daughter, and we went to a hotel. Yes, we brought the snack bin, where we have been the past few days while I find a good divorce lawyer. My wife is still spreading lies about me, claiming I tried to kick her out, and all sorts of other lies. I'm finished with her. I don't care what she says, I'll be divorcing her and paying as much alimony as she wants so that I can keep my daughter safe from her. I don't care about the house or anything else. She can keep it all and let her sister, brother-in-law and nephews mooch off her until she's penniless. I'm sorry, this is not a happy update and I doubt I will make one after this. Thank you for opening my eyes, Reddit edit. After so many people have told me not to give up the house, I will be doing my best to fight for it and low alimony for my wife. Me and my daughter shouldn't have had to leave the house we've both grown up in because of my wife. She can live with her sister if she wants to help them so much. Not an idiot. You are an amazing parent. Your wife is toxic. But don't give up without a fight. You are providing for your daughter. The house is yours as your daughter will live with you. Your wife doesn't deserve to have your daughter call her mom. And AITA is your house. With your daughter to testify with how her own mother treats her, no judge is going to award her the house. Get that divorce attorney and document everything your wife is saying. Also, you may be able to use your Reddit post to back up your claims of how unhinged your wife is. Not an idiot. You need to fight for your house and as little alimony as possible. Remember, every penny you keep from her is a penny more you can spend on your daughter. Education fund, house deposit, wedding fund, etc. Besides, that's your daughter's home you're talking about. Don't give it away to her toxic mother. Now for the next story. Am I an idiot for posting the reasons that I excluded some people from my child-free wedding? My sister got married last summer. She had a very elegant and beautiful wedding and reception planned. It was child-free. She sent a gracious note to everyone who sent their regrets and thanked them for understanding her desires for her wedding and respecting them enough to RSVP in the negative. She also invited them to a party later that summer at her home if they wanted to take pictures with her and her wedding party in their fancy clothes. I thought it was well handled and classy. Several people did not understand the meaning of child-free and brought their kids anyway. One screamed through the ceremony and the mom would not leave the chapel because she did not want to cause a fuss. There were no problem extra places for them at the reception, so their parents had to share their food with them. The worst was the kid that wanted a cupcake off the table the wedding cake was on. He tipped the wedding cake onto the floor. My dad saved it, but there was a handprint on the lowest tier and a lot of cupcakes hit the floor. All in all, it was 4 families that brought uninvited children. My wedding invitations just went out over Christmas. We are getting married in May. I know this is a long time, but we have a lot of out-of-town, country, and even continental guests we hope will come. We did not invite these families to our wedding. We have a Facebook group for the wedding for people to share pictures and memories that we might put in the wedding video. They found out about the group and posted to my personal page about being excluded and asking why we are not inviting them. I messaged them privately and asked them to take down their posts and explained that my wedding was smaller and I wasn't having as many guests as my sister. They went public again and bitched about me excluding them for no good reason. So I posted the receipts. I posted a video my cousin sent me of the kid crying during the ceremony and the parents doing nothing. The video of the kid freaking out because he had to share trout for supper. The before and after pictures of the wedding cake table. And I also asked if they knew in advance that they were not supposed to bring their kids to the wedding. Then everyone started piling on. To them, I guess there was a lot of stuff I missed, including one of them changing a kid on the table with the guest book because the closest bathroom did not have a baby station. Now they are all calling me an idiot for embarrassing them for having children and wanting to be part of family events. I said that they could not understand why rules were in place and that is why they were not invited. My uncle posted about how embarrassed he was that his daughter was one of these entitled jerks and offered to pay my sister for the cake that got wrecked. He had been unable to attend and hadn't heard about the cake. So am I an idiot? Not an idiot. They tried to publicly shame you for not inviting them, when they could have just messaged you privately and avoided the embarrassment. They don't get to try to publicly embarrass someone only to then get upset when it gets turned right back around on them. Play stupid games, win stupid prizes. That they're, in the midst of all of this, still trying to justify why they brought their kids despite explicitly being asked not to, only underline even more that you did the right thing. Though a bit of advice, you may want to consider having some bouncers at the door to your ceremony and reception should they try to crash. Judging from well, from all of this, it seems like that's at least a possibility. Not the idiot my husband and I wanted a close friends only wedding, but got guilt-tripped into allowing kids. There were cute moments, but overall I wish there'd been no kids. They screamed during the ceremony. I had to stop my own wedding due to a toddler screaming no no no, while her dad ignored her. They broke the glass table decorations. They smeared chocolate on my husband's vest. They ran around underfoot. I'm convinced the only reason I didn't lose it was because my bridal party made a deal to keep the kids away from me.